Yeah, I don't think.
Well, hello and welcome. Today, uh, welcome to the Conversations with Lightworkers and Angels, and where we talk about all things spiritual. And today I have Daniel, Emma, Andrea, Charlotte, and Michael. And we recently went to a retreat in Alon, France, where there was channeling, and we did some violet flame rituals and some releasing, and we danced and played, and we just had a really great time eating together, talking, playing with our spiritual tools. And it was a great, wonderful experience. And we're going to share some of our epiphanies, and how we're integrating what we learned from the retreat and some experiences we've had since the retreat, because a couple of my friends have been to other retreats. And so our intention today is just to have a fun discussion and go back to the feeling of the unimaginable fun experiences we had. So I'm going to invoke the violet flame of Saint Germain. So I want you to take some conscious deep breaths and relax and lean in to your spirit guides, to source, the angelic realm, ascended masters. Breathe in your connection to everyone on the call and anyone that ever listens. I am what I am. I will be what I will be. We connect to the spirit of the violet flame to cleanse anything from our spirit that needs to be released. We are using the violet flame to increase the love and joy and freedom in our life to be who we are. Our intention is to raise our vibration and to share this love and light in the world. And so it is. Okay. So I want to start, I think I want to start with Michael, because I know you've had some beautiful experiences. So share a little bit about what you leaned into and learned at the retreat. And moving forward, you've been to a couple of other retreats. So how are you integrating all of these new emotions and feelings and into your life now?
Uh, well, I first want to start by saying I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see you guys. Looking at each and every one of you guys. I'm just feeling really good right now to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I wish Yulia was here. I had a mix up in the time zone, and I had put on actually on our calendar to remind us. And I'm glad Emma reminded me because I put like it was 2 o'clock Central, thinking that it was. So. She's taking a nap right now. Hopefully she will be able to join us.
Okay.
Um, I think I think it's just uh greater awareness of the the synchronicities and the orchestration of things. Like just came back from Vietnam, and I've been to Vietnam, half a dozen times, and for some reason this trip, this last one was I've just it was just interesting to think like how did I choose uh like this timeline, like, and I when we realized like, oh, this timeline is the greatest time to be in with this awakening, and it's amazing. But like, why did I choose to be Vietnamese? And I had that sense on this trip, and it was like Yuli and I trying all these different foods, and it was like so amazing. It was so good, and like everyone was so nice. Everyone we connected with, from the people at the hotels and the people we talked to at the restaurants, and just realizing like it just made me like almost like just break down with gratitude of realizing like, oh, I think I think I realize or understand why like I chose to be Vietnamese, because it's just like it was amazing to see um and realize that I'm not explaining it well. I'm it's um like there was moments on the trip where it was just unbelievable. Like there's just like there's no way that this could be happening without it being orchestrated, and
Mhm.
and realizing that it was not just an orchestration of of just like the people involved in your reality that is part of the orchestration, like not just you
Yeah.
and your interaction, but like other people involved. Like for example, I wanted to have this, there's a lot of people riding scooters in Vietnam, and it's like totally packed. And I just think it's really cool to be able to drive a scooter in a foreign country with your partner behind. Like I had that fantasy, or that joy of being able to do that. And it was on our last day, and I didn't think that we could do that. And the hotel, the Airbnb that we guest, the host that we connected with, he was just really friendly, and it was just last minute. It's like, hey, do you want to come eat lunch with me? You guys want to join? And we were just about to check out of the hotel, and I told Yulia, like I felt like I that moment I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I didn't expect this. Let's see. It's gonna be fun. So I kind of just went along with it, and next thing you know, I didn't realize he had his own like moped, like set of mopeds that he let us borrow that day. And so from there, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted. And like, how did this, like, so he was part of it. And then realizing like, I didn't even plan this trip in Vietnam. And it's like, oh, it's my friend, one of my best friends who had this idea. So just realizing like everything coming together, and just the gratitude of just the gratitude, just the
Yeah,
gratitude.
living in gratitude. That is,
Mhm.
it creates beautiful experiences, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
beautiful
And
energy, and you're deliberately creating that out in the world, and now you're seeing it, right?
yeah, it was just gratitude for people, the good food, and like we were in North Vietnam, which is an area that I never really explored before, but we were out in the more of the countryside, and this area called Ninh Binh, which is where they filmed King Kong, the scene where he was eating that big squid and like that backdrop. So I knew it was going to be beautiful, but it was like beyond what I had imagined, just like
Yeah.
how beautiful it was. And so it was just amazing time. And and then Julia, like we're on top of the mountain at one point, and she just started speaking light language, and it's like, oh, this is just so unbelievable.
Oh, that's
Just
so great. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so uh I think overall, guys, I mean, Tammy, it's just a greater appreciation of everything, and a greater awareness of like of synchronicities. And um I guess one sort of mystical moment was when I went to another retreat in Denver. A woman, her name is Laura De Pisa, who channels Raw. And one day during that retreat, I slept. I didn't sleep right, I guess, and I woke up with a like this lower neck pain, and I was meditating, and I was leaning back my headboard like this, and um I was meditating. I started meditating before we started our session, and um like my head started to like swirl around slowly, and I was like I had a brief moment where it was like kind of scary, but then I told myself like, oh, this is really cool, this is fun, and it was just like doing this like very slowly, and I only did it for like 10 minutes because we had to start our our day for that retreat, and I I was excited, and I told Laura like, Laura, guess what? Like I had this experience and I don't know what it means, and she was like, well, maybe you were just guided and you're I mean, did you ask for something? I was like, yeah, I had the intention of trying to like heal my neck, but I totally forgot that I had that intention because I was so focused on like my head moving that way. And then as soon as she said that, I was like, oh wow, my neck pain is gone. That was so
You let it
cool.
go, but
Yeah, like
you
Yeah.
followed your
it was
intuition.
so cool. I was like, oh my God, so
That is
cool.
mystical. Yeah,
It was very mystical.
that's
So, um, there's that's probably sorry, some things that I shared
okay.
with you guys. So thanks for listening in.
Okay. Well, thank you. Um, Emma, what's been going on with you since the retreat? I know you've really felt your heart open.
Yeah. I think everything's just at a higher level. I just feel lighter and more love, and there's just magic is the only way I can put it. Like just how Michael describes. I can't even really think of examples, but they're just every day something will. It's a synchronicity. It's not just numbers lining up, and it's that as well. But I don't know. It's just very frequent. It can be someone saying something on a podcast I'm listening to, and then suddenly I'll see it in the background. I see the same words in the background of a TV show I'm watching, or uh, I'll go out and see something on the side of a truck, or someone will say something. It's just not constant, but frequent magic.
Yeah.
Just everything just feels at a higher level. And when manifestation events happen, such as our heating broken down, and I was away for a few days, got back to snow and walked in the house, and our heating was broken. And I honestly didn't have there was not one moment of, oh shit, awful, how awful is this? It was just straight away, I was like, oh, I'm going to camp in the lounge. I'm going to light the log fire. And it's just been fun. And we've met some really lovely people. We've got a whole new heating system with solar panels and heat pumps and everything being designed for us. It's just been lovely. And my husband was away at the time when it happened, so the fridge went down and I had to get all the freezer stuff out. And anyway, the only thing that kept going through my mind was I'm capable. It was just a empowering belief the whole time rather than a negative one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just been like that. It's just been easier to be in a higher vibration. If I feel myself getting knocked out for any reason, it's nothing like, it's not a, it's not a deep dark magic. It's just lifted. The whole retreat has just lifted my life in ways it's hard to actually explain. But yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. Charlotte, I know you've been having some magical experiences too.
I've been having some magical experiences. Yeah, so well, as you guys know, the retreat was like a big shift for me because even though I'm very attracted to the whole thing, but and I was so lucky to have Tammy there when I was experiencing it. But and I had this very particular these medium experiences where these I was people were coming like who passed And as I was talking to people and I was saying names and they're saying, yeah, you know, they're people who mean something to me. And this happened 3 times, like very quickly, didn't it? The name was just there and, you know, I didn't even have to try. Anyway, so that's really put me on a path where, you know, it's kind of undeniable about, you know, the spirit world, which, you know, I sort of kind of knew it was there, but not in this really intense way that I now know it is. And I suppose it's integrating that, which is more difficult than I would have ever thought, because I've got this one part of me that is really loving the whole idea of, you know, just, you know, raising my vibration, better perspective and everything. And then there's this other one of like, you know, I don't want to be weird. This isn't me. You know, my friends are just like, you know, they just explaining it to them, their reaction is just how I would have been. I can't blame them. You know, they're just like, what's happened to Charlotte? And so I'm kind of toning it down a bit. Yeah, it's tricky. Anyway, but it's not stopping me working. So I've found limiting belief forms. I'm just like powering through the limiting beliefs. It's amazing. And I've had some incredible experiences with light language, kind of internally light language. And the way I can perceive it is, you know, we are on the edge of the physical and the non-physical world. And from what has been shown to me is like that is what we are there to explore, that fun bit between the physical and the non-physical.
Yeah.
If it's all physical, then we're like, you know, we're one of them, the 3D people. And if it's non-physical, then well, then we're not here. But it's that fun bit, that fun line between, and that is where light language comes from. That's where I know it's just like where love is. You know, it's like all the amazing things in life comes from that line, the leading edge. And I've been meditating on it, and yeah, just it's really really cool. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, but still I'm struggling. There's a part of me that's still struggling, even still. And who knows, you know, I've just got to leave it be and it'll release itself, I'm sure.
I had I pulled a card this morning from my starseed card, and it said, "Embrace your weirdness." And so I think that was for both of us. But you know, yeah. So
all of us,
when you're on the spiritual path, because you can't see it, you know, sometimes you question it, but you'll get synchronicities. I noticed that you mentioned that you had like a orb come in to your experience on a call the other day when we were listening to
Christy
do the dead talk. Well, that's happened to me. So your talking about it also made me remember when I was on my way to a retreat in March. One came into my awareness. It was like a energy ball just popped in. So that's happened to me a couple of times, and those are things that are unexplainable, but it really is just an information packet. And the best way that I can describe it is we've shifted from just 3D to 4D, or our frequency has risen enough that we can see some of the spiritual realm, maybe energy, maybe geometric patterns, mediumship, other things like that. So those are experiences. Once you start to share them, you will get the synchronicity to show you that is real. It's happening to other people as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And
also
it's very cool.
I did I'll just need to share this because it's I know, I just find it all very funny. So I did a couple of meditations to um introduce me to my spiritual guides. Okay. And I had and I was listening to the lady who was doing the meditation. She was talking about how she had this lovely woman called Margaret who was with her for years, and they were like best friends. And I thought, oh yeah, that'd be really nice. Anyway, and he won't mind me saying this, but so mine emerges, and it's my ex-father-in-law. What a surprise! I was just like, no, that can't be right. But then I realized, oh my God, he was the only person it could be. And then, like right behind him, is my husband's father who's passed. So I've got two fathers-in-laws. And I'm like, I can only handle one. I can only handle one. Like, and so, but the other one, he's like much more sort of like pushy. He won't mind me saying that, he is. And so he's just like, I'm just coming in. I've just got to tell you this. And then I'm off. I'm like, okay. And he just like
Love it. I love it.
but like big energy upgrade, and then he's off. And I'm like, wow, like he just sorted out some chakra issue I didn't even have. I didn't even know I had. And then, but the other, my first father-in-law, he is like an angel. My God, he's amazing. So I don't know. I'm talking about all these things now, which even a month ago, I'd have thought was completely bonkers. But it's really here. I'm really getting information that I couldn't do otherwise.
And for those of you that don't know, I communicated with her about my grandfather because I just kept getting this feeling that he was trying to tell me something. And she sent me a message. It was get on the water, you know. She probably, I don't know if she knows, I love to kayak and boat and get on the water and go to like parks and rivers and oceans and stuff. But anyway, and then he sent me love.
Yeah, the incredible amount of love he felt for you.
Yeah. So, if you have a question, she's a good one to ask. You can reach out to her. Andrea, how's it going the last couple of weeks?
It's going good. I know. Wow, it's so funny because when everybody's talking, I like this, I think, oh yeah. And I go, no, 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 just let that go. Just be in the moment. Whatever you need to say, we'll be here when it's time to say it.
Mhm.
And so in the past, I think probably for me, the most impactful thing has being really trying to be more aware of the present moment and not, dip into the past, not go into the future. Also just being aware of the people around me. And I know for a long time, I've been like kind of praying for guidance around judgment, like internal judgment. It's so funny because, somebody will judge outwardly and I'll judge in my head, but I go, oh, but at least I'm not actually saying it. But in actuality, the thoughts are still there and I'm engaging in them.
That's
And
right.
so what's been really fun is obviously my bus is now gutted. We went from like, we're going to put in a few cabinets in the bus to we've taken everything out. We found a leak. My brother repaired that. So I've been working with my brother. I'm kind of the Joe girl. And he's amazing at doing everything and just being so incredibly grateful for the relationship that I have with him and that we have this time together. It's like our own little project. And noticing similar past personality traits that come a lot from our father. But it's so beautiful to see it expressed by him notice that that's something I carry too. It just may not be showing up in the bus right now, and being able just to love it and appreciate it for how it's being fed back to me so that I can forgive it and heal it. Like that has been really, and spending time with my mother as well. And I have a lot of judgments about my mother right now. And I keep asking for like, please, please, like, I want more clarity on this. I want more clarity on this. And what's coming up is hilarious because my mother will say things and I'll get annoyed. And then afterwards I go, oh my God, but she's literally saying something that I'm thinking at exactly the same
Oh,
time.
yes, you're a mirror.
But I judge her for it. Like it's on her, it's coming up from her. And so I think that honestly has the biggest thing for me has just been being aware of those outside of me who are just these gifts for me to heal those different parts of me. And this morning I was listening to something, and it was this Indian woman. I can't remember her name, it's very long, but she's just so wonderful. And she said something that was really profound for me because I've been really like wanting to have like an awakening. I want to like, get rid of the ego and really feel source. And she actually said at the end that we are in a time of being here and being completely present with the souls right in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so profound. It was such a profound thing for me because I've been trying so hard to get out of the physical and into, something else. And realizing, wow, like that other person in front of you, and in their eyes and be like that with every person you interact with. And that is was just such a gift this morning. So it's just so lovely to be able to share that here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That's profound. I know year before, or maybe it was when I met you, like a couple of years ago, that year I only focused on connecting with people. And I found so many new friends. But it is very profound to just sit and listen and connect. And a lot of people don't. When you're with, I can sit in a restaurant sometimes, every person in the restaurant's on the phone, but I'll put mine down and try to connect. And I was in the grocery store yesterday and I was smiling, and somebody had texted me something that was kind of cute, but I was smiling walking through the grocery store, and a man ran over to me. He said, I don't know what you're doing, but you haven't stopped smiling since you were in the store. And so I'm saying, once you start to engage with people like that, and you're actually present and you're not on your phone, so anyway, that's a great thing, because people want to be acknowledged, appreciated, and loved. That self, and that programming we get from our parents, it comes up. So it's really valid, but it's time to let it go. That ego, if we're hard on ourselves, there's nobody harder on ourselves than us.
Absolutely.
It's time to let that go. So 4D living is just being a lot lighter on yourself. And so I appreciate that work. It's great. Dan.
That's something I really appreciated about the retreat, is when we were sitting in that room and it just felt that there was so much space for everyone, and we could all just take it in turns, and we would talk sometimes for minutes on end, and it was just always fascinating listening to the other person, and no one interrupted them, and and it's just a lovely feeling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No one had their phones. They were
Yeah.
just listening to each
We
other.
were
And
we were in a giant chateau, but there was a sunroom with, but it was kind of one of the smaller rooms, but we really congregated there a lot and just talked and played and laughed. I love that room. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, and once you do that, and it's a very powerful connecting tool. So you're, actually looking at another person, asking a question, and then allowing them to respond, um, and just be okay with whatever they say. Accept it. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So, Daniel, you have been on some other adventures. So Daniel and I, we explored, we traveled together, and then we went to the retreat together in Milan, and then we went to Paris, and we had so many funny experiences. So what were your takeaways from the retreat and beyond? So you've been to another retreat since then too.
Yeah, I went to a Kelly Bowker retreat. Kelly's become a pal of mine, and but I'll go back to when we were in Paris. A lot of us, Crystal was sick. I think Christy was sick, and in the middle of the night, I just felt so sick. And I usually, one thing I've been blessed with is pretty good health, and I don't usually feel sick. And it went on pretty much all night. I was trying to sleep and I just felt like I was going to get sick. And then I would get up and walk around for a minute. And finally, at about 3 a.m, I sat on my bed and decided just to meditate through it because I didn't know what else to do. And I was meditating up a storm. And all of a sudden, I had this vision. And I'm not good at seeing things like visualizing. I always tell Christy when she does these meditations, is this picture yourself in a beautiful meadow. I just can't do it. I just close my eyes and relax because it just seems to be a strain. But anyway, this violet light was like a cloud and it was pouring into me. And it was just like clouds and clouds of violet light. And it was so vivid that I opened my eyes a couple of times to see if there was light coming in from outside my room. We had a beautiful, Tammy knows this, we had a beautiful apartment in Paris. And there was no light coming in. There was just a little moonlight, but nothing too dramatic. And when I get done with that meditation, I felt really good and it was really exciting with the violet light. And then I was telling Tammy that afterwards I was seeing violet light everywhere. I don't know if it was the next night, Tammy, or 2 nights later that we took a long walk to the Eiffel Tower. And for the one night of the year, they lit it up in colors, and it was lit up it was kind of, wasn't completely violet, but it was certainly violet-like. It was just lit up in a what color would you say it was? To me, it was like,
but from the bottom, it was purple, and when they
yes,
lit it, it just came up. But he kept looking at me. He said, "That's not pink. That's purple, Tammy. It's violet." So then he turned everything violet everywhere we went.
And I closed my eyes to meditate, and violet, sometimes blue, sometimes green, comes in. I'm getting all these visions of things. And it's like what Michael said, it's hard to put into words, but I'm very well aware that my life is changing dramatically and things are speeding up. It's like being on a roller coaster. I'm retired now, and I have so many projects going around the house that I can't keep up with them. Like I'll be upstairs. I'm wallpapering my old room. I've had most of my house has been completely redone, and I was going to have my bedroom redone. And I decided to kind of fiddle around and do it myself. So I'm doing wallpaper and stuff. And Tammy knows this. since I did plant medicine in February of 2020 with our friend Crystal, we were on the same, that's how we originally met, and then reconnected serendipitously like 3 years later by surprise at Gary's house. I developed this penchant, this ability to curse at the drop of a hat. And the only way I can explain it is that I've been pretty well behaved and pretty buttoned down my whole life. And now, whatever emotion I'm feeling, and anger is among them, is so close to the surface that it just bubbles up in a kind of a staccato, almost a Tourette's kind of thing. So the other night, I'm up there and I'm in my room wallpapering, and I really was having an enjoyable day. But when anything goes wrong, it's just instantly, it's like fucking shit. It's just instantly I do this. So the wallpaper got stuck on. It's like it's not like old-fashioned wallpaper, it's more like contact paper. So it was a little crooked, and I was trying to pull on it, and I did a little cursing. And then the thing fell down and wrapped around me. So this old guy is wrapped in sticky wallpaper, cursing up a storm. And at the same time, it's so ludicrous that I can't help but laugh. So it's like being schizophrenic. I've got these two emotions that are existing side by side. The bottom line is life is becoming so interesting and so fun. And I guess one thing that I could say, Tammy and I were talking at the beginning about what a great time we had in Paris. It usually when I travel, I'm trying to have a good time because that's why you travel. And I think, and see if you agree with this, Tammy, when we were wandering around Paris together, we weren't trying to have a good time. We were just letting things unfold, and everything was funny and silly and interesting and exhilarating. It didn't matter what we did. We went to the opera. Imagine me at the opera. And
random. We get off the train and there it is.
Very random. I had the most beautiful nap at the opera.
We all did.
I would watch it and I had no idea what was going on. It was a modern interpretation of the Faust story. And I would watch it and be intrigued, even though I had no idea what was going on. And then I would close my eyes and I'd be gone for I don't know how long. And I'd open my eyes and there'd be like 50 people on the stage around a basketball court, and they were shooting hoops and stuff. And I'd be like, what the fuck? But it was so interesting. And so a couple of weeks ago, I did the Kelly Bowker retreat. And it was that way too. We had such a great time at the retreat, but then afterwards, a few of us went into Santa Barbara and we did the same thing, Tammy, that you and Yana and I did, just kind of wandered around and saw things, but it was in Santa Barbara. And it was that same magical feeling of not trying to make anything happen, not trying to look for things to do, but just watching things unfold. And the word I keep using, and I hear it from you guys too, is just the word magical. That life has become so much more magical. And it's not without stress, and it's not without trouble, but the emotions just fly up, sometimes in a powerful way, and then they just blow past like a storm. And it's so darned interesting. And it's just wild and wacky. I don't know how to explain it any more than that, but
that was perfect. That was perfect. I would have to say, Paris was one of the most magical places I've ever been. But then, I was in Sedona, and that's how it was for me. But, I followed my intuition the last couple of years. I've gone places I was called to go, to retreats. I'm listening to my spirit guide. I've had nothing but dreams almost every night. I'm like flying in spaceships and playing with dragons. I don't know what's happening? I was playing with a baby green dragon one time, and then I was holding a purple bird. It didn't look like any bird I've ever seen. I sort of have the feeling I was like on another planet or in another dimension, whole new Earth or something. It didn't look anything like the Earth. And then when I was flying, I dreamed I was in Myrtle Beach. I did know two people in the dream, someone I worked with many years ago. I haven't seen him. I don't know anything why he would come in my dream. And then there was a sleeping dragon in the water, but the earth didn't look anything like it does now. It was actually desolate. And I saw my son there. My son was there, and we were having fun doing something in Myrtle Beach. And then I jump on this ship and just fly around looking, and this giant sleeping dragon just picks up his head and looks at me. So I'm having these very wild dreams, and I remember some of them. I'm like another person in another life. And some of them, I'm like doing things that I wouldn't do. I'll put it that way. I'm like experiencing things. Like in one life, I felt like I was a girl who was having an affair with a man. And then her husband and children walk in and they're watching her. So it was like, yeah, it was because I've always had these crazy dreams, like I'm astral traveling. I'm doing different things, and mostly it was people I knew, but it has shifted to people I don't know now, and animals I've never seen, and it's anyway, I I had a I know, that I've always been into angels and magic and things, but the galactic part, I was a little bit not in line with it. And I've had some wonderful discussions with people like Charlotte and Daryl about, that because some of my spirit guides that I've come in and I've seen visions of are very galactic. Or, I won't, and that part of me, I was a little resistant to. So I've done some manifestation event forms and some other work around that, and leaning into, embracing that we all come from the sky and sky people. I've even had discussions with people in my family and things saying, well, what is a hybrid? I mean, we're all from some other place, and so we've activated our light language, which is, some of it is galactic. I've been doing activations on people, and so the message is just lean into it, let it flow. I do question it sometimes, because I want it to be angelic. I want it to be one thing, but then I channel dragon. But the dragon light language is very cleansing and cathartic, but it's kind of loud, and I've never really been a loud person. But at the retreat, I you know I like to do ceremonies and rituals, and magic, and I don't do that every day, but some days I'll light a candle, set an intention, do some breath work. I have, since the retreat, I have seen the violet flame. We did light language, and the four of us, when we went to Paris, we went to the obelisk, we did light language and together. And so these are things that we're called to do, or I got a message before I went to Paris. That was the reason I was there. One reason I was there. The other reason was to meet these lovely Charlotte, Emma, and Michael, and I knew Andrea and Daniel, but it's to activate the light and love in you. So that's always been my mission. first is to clear and cleanse and be as pure as I can be, and then to serve others. And, I also know that's your mission. If you know me, you're here to be light and love, and you have to lighten up to do that. So your work is very powerful. You can see how it affects the other people in your life. Daniel has lightened up significantly. Andrea has. I've known them a couple of years. Emma, I saw it. And Michael, I felt it. Like you kind of just let go at the retreat. And but make no mistake, I still have my own darkness. Some days I allow myself to go into a limiting belief. And but now I'm like Daniel, like I'm seeing it right away, and I'm able to shift it, and I might use my light language. I did a self-acceptance ceremony the other day, but you were all activated with a violet flame too, and you can use it for yourself and for others. So we did that. Um, and feeling the oneness, the love, and connecting with each other. So if you get stuck, reach out. You're not gonna. Sometimes you can't see your limited belief, no matter how hard you look at it, because you've lived a certain way so long. And so you have to bump up against somebody who'll say, hey, I see the light in you, because I see it in all of you now. And it's a blessing to know you and to get to love you. And, um, I loved being in a lawn with all of you. And then, but we go home and we're not together, but we can still connect to each other. And and just tune into that feeling in your heart each time that you feel like you're disconnected, because we're together in the non-physical. I can guarantee you. I'm having dreams and I'm seeing it. And these, I've been together with people that I'm not together with. And I get messages about people, and it's like, oh, we're actually together. We've known each other before. We must have a soul contract to get to know each other. And, so keep going with the integration and the practices that make you feel good. And, keep connecting, and sharing is really powerful too. Once you recognize a fear, like maybe Charlotte's fear of being a medium, or my fear of being weird and galactic, because I really had a fear of, spoke like language like 3 years ago. And then I didn't really speak it again for a couple of years, but I was drawing it and getting all these messages. But once I did some clearing work around that, I started speaking it. And I will share that I got a letter or an email from Ellen. She didn't send that to all of you. Did you? Okay, so she's contacted me a couple of times. She's got a spirit guide with her, and she's speaking her light language, and she shared 3 videos or 3 sound bites with me speaking her light language. And she's had some out-of-body experiences. So the activations work on people in different ways and in different speeds, and the heart opening does as well. But as Daniel said, once you lighten up, you really never go back down to the old version of you. You keep the lightest version, and you keep going lighter and lighter. But perhaps working on judgment, or expressing your feelings, being okay with all of the emotions you're feeling. I know I'm kind of hard on myself when I get angry and upset, and I can be, I can say things to myself like, oh, and beat myself up. Well, once you notice that, you can just keep clearing that out. So you can use your light language, whether that's hand or written or listening to it. Frequencies are really great. Like sound is good. Like today I listened to 936. So, each one is a little different it'll resonate with your frequency and raise your vibration. But I do appreciate all of you for, Daniel and Andrea and Charlotte for being, and Michael and Emma for being love and light in the world, because it's really not a very difficult thing to do. And once you do it, it's like, oh, I can't go back. I gotta stay this way. And it only gets better when you use your magic power of love to transform your reality and the world. You can send it out to the world and the universe. So use the violet flame, the frequencies, the connections, and just keep the love in the heart, because that's where it's all at. So, all right.
Thank you,
Well,
Tammy.
thank you.
Amazing,
That was
What a
Tammy.
lovely summary.
wonderful.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah.
So how many